everyone. My name is Julianne Meyer, and you are watching Own Your Wellness. And I'm excited. First of all, a couple of reasons. One, I'm going to Greece this weekend, so I am beyond excited about that. And also, I think I had a little too much caffeine, so I'm feeling a little excited and jittery. But that's okay. It's okay to overindulge every once in a while, as long as you don't make it a habit. All right, so before I go to Greece, I wanted to share some ideas about setting these health goals and actually keeping them. I hear all the time, about people New Year's resolutions, and they'll start out strong and then fade out really quick, or, just trying to make these health goals and not keeping them. Even people who are told by their doctors that they need to make certain changes don't always do it. There's a study was done that only 1 in 7 people who are told by their cardiologist that they will die if they do not make health changes to their diet make those changes. So it's not necessarily about willpower. It's not necessarily about proper motivation, because I don't know, not dying is probably really good motivation to change your diet, right? But here's the thing that, I think that we need to sort of change about this idea of making these goals. And one of them is I want you to set lofty goals. I don't care if you've never completed one. It's time to set a lofty goal, because sometimes, and this happens a lot, is when your goals are a little on the small side, it's not that exciting. It's not that interesting. It's hard to stay motivated. So what I'd love for you guys to start doing is making your goals lofty. Now, what I mean by lofty is not something that's ridiculous. Like, I would never, I don't know, try and be a Sports Illustrated swimsuit model. That's not going to happen. It's just, well, first of all, I don't want to even try, but on top of that, it's just not going to happen. It's like me trying to decide I want to be an astronaut at this point in my life is not going to happen. But, maybe something lofty it seems impossible, but I could do it if I really tried. That's what I mean by lofty. I don't mean I'm going to lose 5 pounds in a month. That's not really lofty, and it's not very inspiring. So what do? We've already discussed sort of about the goal. Now let's talk about, a little bit about how to break it down. So here's the thing that I learned that makes a huge difference for most people and most of my clients is to take this huge lofty goal and sort of work backwards. You want to break that goal down into very actionable steps each day. So make it small. You might have a lofty goal, but you're going to try and break it down so that it's nice and easy for you to reach it each day, something that you can do. So, for example, if I wanted to run a marathon and I wanted to place, for example, in this marathon, not just complete it, which would be definitely an accomplishment in and of itself, but let's just say I wanted to, run and place in a marathon. Well, then I would need to break it down into, all right, I've got X amount of months to get this goal completed. What am I going to do each day? So if you plan it out, it makes it a lot easier. If you leave things up in the air, the odds of you reaching your goal dramatically reduce. So you need to start planning ahead of time and put that plan into place. And it needs to become something that is non-negotiable in your mind. So this is where mindset comes in, because obviously we're always talking about mindset on this show, but you need to make it so it's not a question of, will I do this? But I'm doing this. That's just who you are. That's how you're showing up. Instead of, I'm going to try and run a marathon. I'm running this marathon on this day, for example. So, if you can plan, say, your workouts, for example, and write down to even the time. That way, you know exactly when it is. You have an appointment set up. It's on your calendar. It's scheduled for you. There's no question about, am I going to do it today or am I going to do it tomorrow? When you start allowing things to be decided at the last minute, all of a sudden it doesn't happen. So you need to plan things out. So ultimately, if you're going to set a lofty goal, that's fabulous, because 1, you're going to be more interested in it. And 2, then you can break it down into easy steps. Now, what happens when life happens? Because we all have the best intentions and we all have, our schedules and things like that. But what happens when, I don't know, you get sick or something happens where you don't have that exact time to work out anymore or eat that proper food that you had, created for yourself? What do? Well, that's where the planning comes in again. You need to have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, and a plan E all set up. And here's the thing that I'm going to let you know, a little secret right now. You're not going to necessarily know in the beginning what your triggers are that are going to throw you off of your schedule and your balance. And that's okay, because you're going to learn as you go along. So there's certain things that you can sort of plan for. Let's say it has to do with nutrition, for example, because we are talking about health goals. Let's say I don't know, you have all your meals prepped for the week and you bring it with you and you forget it one day. So now you have no food in with you at work, for example. What are you going to do? So there's a couple things you can do. One is I would have snacks planned. I would have food available, backup plans, and things in place that if this happens, then you'll have something to do behind that, instead of, okay, well, I forgot my food, I might as well just go get some fast food, which is usually where our brain goes. So you're not alone in that. But if you have a plan set up beforehand for things like backups, like if you don't have time to maybe eat the food that you made, what can you eat snack wise that's going to satisfy you so you don't jump off the deep end later? These are all things that you need to think about. Now, like I said, not everything is you're not going to know all of the variables in the beginning, but you will learn quickly what things happen to you on a regular basis, and you can plan accordingly. Now, I brought up the food with the snacks because that happened to me so many times. I had every intention of eating the meal that I created, and then all of a sudden, I'm stuck somewhere and my food's at home and I am instantly starving. And all of a sudden, this drive through or, I don't know, some candy at a gas station, for example, is going to all of a sudden be the most, delicious choice in my mind because I'm starving. So you got to really think about, okay, what am I going to do when I'm hungry? What am I going to do when I don't have time to work out at 8 a.m. in the morning? When am I going to work out? What is my backup options? What else can I do if I can't go to the gym? Now, there's one beautiful thing about COVID that happened is it really taught us that we need to be able to have other plans in place. I know so many people who quit working out because gyms closed. But last time I checked, there's a million people and millions and billions of people in the world that don't go to gyms. They're still healthy. This is a new invention. It's definitely an American thing, because in Europe, they don't really go to gyms. So, or at least they didn't used to. I don't know. I haven't lived there in a while. So my point is that there's always options. You can go outside. You can, do body weight exercises. You can do your old Jane Fonda videos. I mean, there's so many different options, but you got to think about, okay, if I can't make it to the gym, what am I going to do? So what I'm getting at is plan B, plan C, plan D, plan E. Have all of these variables thought of beforehand so that you have options in place. Because when you're tired, when you are hungry, when you don't feel like it, the last thing you're going to want to do is figure it out in that moment. Now, that is the number one way to be derailed, is trying to figure out things in the last moment. So make sure that you have those plans in place. Now, let's talk about when you just don't want to. Because that is going to happen. There's a saying in AA, when you get a case of the F-its. I mean, of course, you say the whole F word. But anyway, when you just don't care, you're like, I could care less. Well, there's a couple of things that I've learned that helped me. One is to think about my ultimate goal. Now, I need to if I get a case of the F-its, I am going to sit there and think about, and I'll force myself, because I'm not going to want to, because I got a case of the F-its. But I'm going to sit there and I'm going to think about what it is, that feeling that I'm after for that goal, because it's never the losing weight that's you're really after. What you're really after is the feeling that you think you're going to get when you lose the weight. So if you can connect with that feeling again, then you can get connected back to your why, your reasoning. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to do it even though I don't feel like it. Because I'll give you a perfect example. I'm an entrepreneur and I don't have to work, but I want money. And sometimes I have to think about, well, if I don't do this now, then I won't have this later. So, and then I make the decision. Do I want to do it now? Yes. 99.9% of the time, it gets me through the moment. Now, the other thing that you can think about too, especially when it comes to food, is when you get those cravings. Oh my gosh, what are you going to do? That's when your plan B, C, D, and E come in. Are you going to phone a friend? Are you going to munch on something that will satisfy the craving without indulging in the craving? So, for example, if you like to eat, I don't know, something like cookies, for example, then maybe you might want something else that's crunchy to satisfy that feeling, that crunchy feeling. So you've got to think about alternatives that are healthier for you. Another way to do things is to make it more fun for yourself. So, for example, if you turn something into a ritual and make it fun, then you're more likely to do it, right? So those times when you just don't feel like it, if you turn it into more of a ritual, then it can be fun. So, for example, I am not a huge... I never looked forward to meditating. It's very once in a while that I feel like I want to do it. So how do I get myself to do it anyway? Well, one, I think about the bonuses of, the benefits, I should say, of meditation, but I've turned it into like this whole thing. So I might go to my specific spot in the house. I might, for example, I know somebody who wears this particular shawl. I know, you've got to like turn it into an event. It doesn't have to take a lot of time, but if you turn it into an event, then it makes things a lot easier to continue doing and make it part of your daily life. Because once things become automatic and you don't really have to think about it, it's a lot easier to reach the goals. Right? Because you're not putting any brain power. You're not fighting what you put in place. You're just going with the flow. So what are some things that you can do that, for example, exercise? Well, to make it more fun, right? Because these are things that I hear all the time. I don't want to do my cardio. I don't want to be on the machine. Well, there's a couple things. One, you don't have to go on a machine. You could go outside. I mean, weather permitting and whatnot. But what could you do to make it more fun if that is the option for you? If you don't have something that you truly enjoy doing, like swimming or tennis or pickleball or whatever, as far as cardio is concerned, what can you do? Well, for me, and I'm giving you my little secret, and this is one that I tell my clients too, is I make it more fun for myself. So I might, listen to music that I wouldn't normally listen to while I am working out on the machine. I might turn on a show that while I'm working out so that I can watch TV and not feel guilty about it. I'm not wasting my life because I'm actually working out. So these are all different options and things that you could do. I know people that read celebrity gossip magazines while they're on the machine. I can't, I'm bouncing too much, but you get the idea. So those are all different ideas, things that you can do to just keep yourself motivated and interested. Now, I feel like things have been a little, preachy. So I think it's time for us to do something fun. We're going to do a fast food segment. And for those of you who haven't joined us for a fast food segment, we learn something really quick with food. Are you guys ready to go? Let's do it. Okay, we are making chia seed pudding today. It's a really fun, easy dessert, but you want to make sure you get the right ingredients, right time. So start off with 2 tablespoons of chia seeds. Now you want to put the chia seeds in first. It's going to be your first ingredient that you add.
Next up is going to be your half of a cup of almond milk or regular milk, depending on what you prefer. Pour that into the chia seeds. It's important to get that order right. It helps them gel better. Okay. Then grab your spoon. You want to start mixing up the chia seeds so all of them are all wet, just like this. It's best to use new chia seeds because if you have old ones, they don't gel as well. All right. Here we go. Okay, now after you're done mixing them up, you want to go ahead and put this in the refrigerator for 2 hours. It can be longer, but 2 hours minimum. Okay, after the 2 hours, you pull your chia seed pudding out and it should be all good to go. As you can see, everything is wet and nice and thick. If by chance all the seeds didn't get wet, you just take your spoon, mix them up a little bit more. You should be good to go. If not, just pop it back in the refrigerator for a minute longer, okay? So next up, here comes the fun part. We get to decorate our food and make it even more delicious. So we're gonna use agave here to sweeten it up just a little bit. It adds a little extra oomph to make it a little bit more desserty. Then I like to add some cinnamon to mine. You don't have to. I just enjoy the flavor. Plus it's an anti-inflammatory. And then we add some blueberries into the mix. Yay! I love myself some brainberries. Now you've got yourself a delicious snack or even a breakfast. So enjoy, enjoy, enjoy because this is good for you and it's fun to eat.
Okay. So now you know one of my favorite things. The thing I forgot to mention is the chia seeds are a good source of protein. So for those of you who are vegetarian or vegan and you're trying to find an alternative source of protein, then that would be a good one. And it tastes good. And it kind of reminds me of tapioca in a way, except healthier. Now, the one thing I do want to mention about the chia seed pudding is it does get in your teeth. So make sure you've got yourself some dental floss for afterwards. But it is a great healthy snack. And also, like I said, it could be breakfast or even dessert. So depending on how much agave you put in there. I don't put a lot because I put the berries in there, but you can add whatever you want. Some people add nuts, things like that. So little pepitas, those seeds, all delicious. So anyway, I hope that helps. I really want to give you different ideas because I think too, when people set these health goals, they think it has to be really, involved. For example, it doesn't have to be super hard for you to eat healthy. In fact, I love it when things are nice and easy. So I'm always looking for things that are less expensive. I'm always looking for things that are quick and easy for me to put together. That's why I wanted to have, you guys have the different sort of tips and tricks available to you to learn about as well. Now, on the next show, when I get back from Greece, which I'm so excited about, I'm going to show you guys a different way to make popcorn without all of the oils and things like that. And it still tastes so good. So it becomes a delicious, healthy snack. Now, let's get back to goal talk and goal setting. I just want to wrap things up a little bit. There's a little bit more to it. But the thing that I've noticed with people when they set these goals is that once they hit a snag, they stop. Most people stop as soon as they hit a snag and sort of give up. And then, or they'll, maybe start eating something that they shouldn't be eating or that's not on their approved food list or whatever the case may be. And then they just think, oh, I'm going to give up. So something that's really important for when you're setting these lofty goals and keeping them, and it might sound silly, but it really genuinely works, is to celebrate all of your little baby wins. Celebrate them. Make them a big deal. Make them an event. Like maybe you ate oatmeal instead of Captain Crunch for breakfast in the morning. Celebrate that. Celebrate yourself for that healthy choice. I am telling you, when you do that, and it seems silly, but first of all, it's fun. But it also trains your brain to look forward to doing it again. So every time you do something and you celebrate it, your brain's like, ooh, that was great. Let's do that again. So another thing too that I want to mention too is when you're exercising and you're doing things that maybe you don't really want to do, but you know that they're good for you. For example, burpees, because I'm always talking about burpees. don't end on the burpees. You want your last exercise to make you feel good and accomplished. Now, if you love the way you feel after you do, a particular exercise, for example, burpees, then by all means, feel free to end on that. But I just want you guys to think about, the same idea, celebration as well as ending on a positive note. If you end where you feel like you didn't really do a good job, then you're not going to want to work out again. So just remember to always end on a positive note. Now, that being said, I do want to talk about rewards because, when we set goals, we also think about rewards. And I despise it when people use food as a reward. It is not good for you to do that. It's not good to think of food as a reward because it messes with your brain. And I am all for eating healthy. I am all for celebrating wins, but never use food as a weapon because it turns into a weapon. If you're using it to celebrate somebody's birthday, great. That's one thing. But to use it as if I do this, then I get this. Like the whole idea of, I've had a hard day at work. I've earned this glass of wine is a really unhealthy mindset. So I want everyone who's watching to get away from that idea. What I think is really important for you to learn and accept is that you can treat yourself, but don't make food either good or bad because you don't want it to be anything more than food in your life because then you start obsessing over it mentally. And like I said before, food should be a part of your life. It should fuel your life. It should not be your life. If you're thinking about, obsessing over certain calories or what kind of food that you should or shouldn't be eating, then it's taking control of you. And that is never a good thing. It is a slippery slope. You can end up with an eating disorder or something else along those lines. And I do not want you going there. So let's say that you do want to reward yourself. Why don't you figure out something that is a little bit different? Maybe you don't even have to buy anything for yourself. It could just be, maybe a nice warm bubble bath, or it could be, you're going to sleep in an extra 15 minutes one morning. Something along those lines where it's self-care. It's not something that's negative, but you feel luxurious. That's the fun part. You want to feel luxurious about it. So those are the things to keep in mind when you are treating yourself. So a quick recap, set lofty goals, break them down to something really easy. And then you want to have an A, B, C, D, and E plan for just about everything that might pop up. And then also you need to learn to show yourself some grace. You're not going to do it perfectly. It is not about perfection. It is about moving forward. So you want to move forward towards your goal. And here's the thing that we always think that goals should be like this and we go up. It's not like that. It's going to be like this. But as long as you're going up eventually, you're headed in the right direction, then stop stressing over it. We don't do everything perfectly, and expecting ourselves to do that is ridiculous. So cut yourself some slack. Just know that you'll get there. And if you make one choice that wasn't on your plan, acknowledge it, maybe learn from it, and then go back to making better choices for yourself. That is what I have to say about that. I think it's super important that you guys set those lofty goals. And if you need more help with that, just reach out to me and we'll see what we can do to help you. But right now it is time for us to go to commercial. So we'll be right back after these messages. Are you someone who is struggling to move forward because you suffered a loss? Maybe you're even finding it difficult to complete the most basic tasks. Are you looking for a way to start enjoying life again without feeling guilty or the resistance to do so? Spiritual life coach Sarah Stockham saw a need for people who haven't learned how to grieve without putting their entire lives on pause. And so she created a program that solves this issue called Choosing Life Right Now. This program is simple and you can do it on your own. If you are ready to learn how to feel your grief while still being able to smile, to honor the sacredness of what took place as a loss, and yet still continue to live with joy, and if you'd like to take care of your whole being with grace and love, then I'd like to invite you to experience her new program called Choosing Life Right Now. Sarah is currently offering her program for the promotional price of $77, but it won't stay at this price for long. To learn more, check out her website. The address is on the screen.
Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversations. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
When drug or alcohol addiction take over, things begin to disappear. Your friends, your family, and eventually, you. Recommended by Dr. Phil, New Method Wellness can help get your life back with individualized treatment plans for dual diagnosis clients. New Method Wellness provides the most highly credentialed treatment in a safe and welcome environment. Call New Method Wellness for your free consultation and ask about our national accreditations. Together, we can put the pieces back together.
Welcome back, everyone. If you're just joining now, I'm Julie Ann Meyer, and you are watching Own Your Wellness. And during the commercial break, I was noticing my friend Craig T, who was on the show not that long ago. And, you know, we have a commercial for him as well. And it reminded me, and I'm feeling a little sad because I am not in Denver, Colorado right now with him and my other team members, because it is the Achieve Biz Explosion conference right now, and because I'm going to Greece, I am not with my people, so I'm feeling a little sad about that. But here's the good news, everyone. In February 3rd and 4th, there's going to be another conference with Achieve, and for all the entrepreneurs, wellness and health professionals as well. It started out just as health and wellness professionals, and now it's all entrepreneurs. So I'll be talking about it again and again, but think about coming to that because it is a huge deal. There's over 300 people there right now. So you can make a lot of connections and some good money by going. Anyway, enough about that. The other thing, too, that I want to mention is I have a TV special coming up. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's going to be November 13th on a Sunday at noon. It's about 2 hours long. And it's because I have a book coming out with some of my Achieve people. And the name of the book is Achieve Wellness. So we're going to be interviewing a few different people from the book. And they're going to be telling us a little bit about themselves and their message. So you definitely want to make sure that you put that on your calendar to come and watch as well. All right. So let's see. You know what? I think it's time to ask Julianne some questions. All right, we are back. I've got the bowl of questions. So just for those who have not watched this segment before, I've been asked a million different questions by different either viewers, clients, strangers. I meet people all the time. So they are all, not all of them because there are too many, but some of the questions that people have asked me in particular are in this bowl here that I have right here, and I am going to answer them. All right. Oh, this one I love. All right. What can I do besides eat well to lose weight? I love this question. It's so funny to me. All right. So, first of all, let's think about this in a different way. Why don't you want to eat well? Why don't you want to love yourself enough to eat well? Don't you deserve to feel good in your own skin? Don't you deserve to be treated with respect? Would you, if you have a child or a pet, would you give them B-list food? Would you give them food that's not good for them? Why would you do that? So let's think about that. And, first of all, now it's okay to indulge sometimes, but food is not a weapon. Food is fuel. So if we start thinking about food as the way we're going to make it through life with energy and pizzazz to do things, then why wouldn't we give ourselves the best? So I love it when people ask me that because they don't want to give up food. Well, that's when it comes into that whole addiction thing, which we talked about in the last episode. So, food is addicting, but we've got to start changing our idea on food and the way we look at it. Because if you really do want to lose weight, then it is mostly nutrition. It is mostly what you're eating that is going to affect what you weigh. Now, not just losing weight, but inflammation. There's, all these other things like our body holds on to toxins because it doesn't know what to do with them. So, or if our body's not working properly, if we're not drinking enough water, it can't let the toxins go. So what do? We balloon up. Now, if you've ever noticed somebody who's a drinker, they're almost always, bloated for a lack of better terminology. And that's because their body can't process all of the things that are, all the poisons and toxins that are in their body. So it's the same thing with food. Our body can only handle so much. So if you, really want to take care of yourself, we don't get an extra body while we're here. So I encourage you to take a different look at food and think of it more as fuel to live the life that you want to live, as opposed to a means to an end. So let's think about food as not punishment, but as something so that we can live our lives fully. And, the other things you can do besides lose weight are surgery, besides changing the way you diet. But here's the thing, even if you were to have surgery, you still need to take care of those mental aspects because it doesn't actually change. And, food it's an inside job. So you really got to think about what you can do to make yourself feel better on the inside and stop weaponizing food. All right, next question. Here we are. What do we got here? Oh, okay. Here's a good one. My friends and my family don't really understand why I'm going to the gym and eating better. How can I get them to support me? I love this question because, a lot of times we go to our significant others or our best friends and we expect them to, be our biggest cheerleaders. And sometimes they aren't. And it is really scary and it doesn't make sense. And it's almost sometimes, and I'm not saying this is true for everyone, but a lot of times it's kind of self-sabotaging, or they're sabotaging us. Not consciously, they're not like, twisting the mustache and like trying to sabotage us, but they are ultimately trying to derail us without even really realizing it. Well, there's a few different reasons for that. One is they don't want to look at themselves and change the way they're being. Two, they're used to you being a certain way. So, they don't want things to change. We're human beings. We don't like change. We don't really, who are you going to be? You're being somebody different. And I don't like that. So, sometimes here's the thing. you can't necessarily go to the people you love the most for the best support for certain things. If they are not supporting you, trying to get them to support you is not going to be the best way to go about things. I highly suggest you look to other people, including yourself, for that support. It does not have to be your significant other. It does not have to be your best friend that is with you on the journey. Now, I'm not saying that they won't ever change their mind and become a part of it. I'm just saying trying to get them on board with what you're doing and they're not is not a good, I don't know, a good way to spend your energy I guess that's the best way to put it. Don't waste your energy on it. Pick somebody who can support you. There's plenty of online groups there. You can make new friends and meetups, things like that. So just think about your support does not have to come from the people that you expect it to come from. And that's okay. It doesn't make them wrong. It doesn't make them less loving, but expecting them to do something or be something that they're not is a recipe for you getting upset with them and causing issues in your relationship. It just means that you don't share that with them. And that's okay. It's okay for you not to share that part of your life with them for the time being until you're set and you're, in it. And that's just who you are and how you are. It's okay. They don't have to be your support. You can find somebody else that will. In fact, when I lived in Italy, I was in a relationship for a while and we broke up and I was devastated. And all of my friends, all of my American friends, they were all going home because most of them were just on like a 6-month, travel visa, school visa or whatever, or 3 months. I don't even remember how long they were there for, but they were all going home. So now I'm stuck brokenhearted in a country, like 10 hours ahead of everybody that I knew back home. And I had nobody to talk to. And I'm telling you, people come out of the woodwork to help you and be there for you when you need it. So it doesn't have to be someone you know. It doesn't have to be your significant other. It doesn't have to be your best friend. And it can't always be those people. So just keep that in mind that you can't force them. You don't want to force them. Ultimately, you don't. You want them to support you on their own anyway. So keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be from them. And the funny thing is as soon as you don't need it from them, they come around. All of a sudden, they're your biggest cheerleaders. It's the most odd thing. So keep that in mind. All right, we're on to the next question. Let's see, what do we have here? All right. Ooh, this one's kind of like similar to the last one. All right. I want to change my lifestyle, but I'm afraid that I'm going to alienate my friends. What should I do? Oh my gosh. Okay. This is something that people who quit drinking think about, or quit doing drugs think about, or, quit being a couch potato think about, because all of a sudden you're living differently. You're living a different lifestyle. And it's like, who are my friends going to be? And this is a very valid fear. I don't want anyone to feel like it's odd that for them to feel this way and be afraid of that, because I know a lot of people don't make changes that they want to make because they're afraid they're going to lose the people in their lives. But here's the thing. You might lose some people in your life, and that's okay. But the universe doesn't allow for voids in your life. So it's going to be filled by somebody new, somebody that is more in alignment with who you're becoming. Now, there's certain people in your life that you may not, maybe not want to lose completely. It might be, family members, for example. Well, that's okay. They don't have to be exactly, on the same path and the same journey as you for you to enjoy them. You can find other things to do. Now, if you always drank together and you don't drink anymore, what else could you do? Let's say you went to trivia night, for example, at the bar. Well, what you're really doing is spending time with the person. So you're going to find out one of two things. One is when you're sober, you don't want to be friends with that person because you don't actually have anything in common with them. Or two, you'll find another way to spend your time with them because really you were just drinking so that you could spend time with them. So instead of maybe trivia night at the bar, you might do game night at home, for example. Then they could have drinks and you don't have to. These are all options. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to stay exactly the same, because if you're growing and changing, then they will grow and change and adapt to who you're being, or they won't. And like I said, it just leaves space for somebody new to come in and be awesome and more in alignment with who you are becoming. And it's scary to jump out of that. It's like a trapeze. When you are swinging on one and you want to get to the next rung, you have to let go and fly through the air, and it feels like you're just going to fall. But either A, you're going to grab onto that other rung, or B, you're going to end up in the net. So either way, you're safe. My point is that it can feel scary, and I want to acknowledge that. But it's not a forever thing. It's just a transition. That's all it is. It's a transition into something new, and it takes some getting used to. So either people grow with you or they grow away from you. And the other thing too that I've discovered that is really helpful is that a lot of the times you don't have to worry about those friends, because they just disappear. You don't even have to have the tough conversation. I can't go out for our Sunday donuts anymore, or whatever the case may be, because, they just disappear without even the conversation. I don't know. It's really cool how it works out. You don't even have to have it. They just fall off. And it's because you're being different, and they are too, because they want to go and live their life the way that they have been, and you want to go and live yours in a different way. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean that they're wrong. It doesn't mean that you are. It just means that you're in different places now. And, not every friendship you have is going to last your entire life, and that's okay. All right. Whew, that was a good one. All right. What is this question? Let's see what we have here. Oh, I like this one. Okay. What should I do when my doctor doesn't listen to me? I get this a lot, because a lot of my clients do have medical issues, and that's why they hire me to help them walk through those moments and be healthier. So what do you do when your doctor doesn't listen to you? Okay. Well, let me just acknowledge that, first of all, not everyone has the opportunity to switch doctors. So yeah, for some people that is a possibility, to just switch doctors to somebody that does listen. But that's not always the case. Like where my parents live, for example, they don't have the luxury of just doctor shopping and finding somebody new, because they live in a really tiny town, and there's only X amount of people that are even qualified to help them. So what do you do when they don't listen? Okay, so you need to be your own advocate. And you know that I'm always talking about this on the show, that you need to be your own advocate. But there are some things that you can say that will hopefully get their attention, and they will listen. You can say, acknowledge their authority, and then say, I really want to work with you, but I need you to listen to me. This is what's going on in my body. And I know, because I've been living in here my entire life. I know that something is wrong. I know that this is not right. I'm not saying that you're wrong, but I'm saying I need you to hear me. It's okay to literally say, I need you to hear me. I need you, to stand up for yourself. And you don't need to be rude. You don't need to be mean. You could, always sugarcoat it by acknowledging their schooling, by acknowledging, their expertise, but also by saying, I'm more than, or even saying, I'm willing to try it that way, but I really need you to hear me, because I really feel like this is important, that, I want to add to the conversation. I want to be a part of my healthcare. That's a really good way to put things, is I want to be a part of my healthcare. And I don't know any doctor who doesn't want to actually help people. Why would they be in the profession if they didn't want to help people? There's easier ways to make money and a lot less student loans. So ultimately they are there to help. But, just acknowledging somebody's expertise and saying, I'm coming to you because you're the expert. And I also want you to hear what I'm saying. It's okay. And you can repeat yourself and say, listen, this isn't working, or I'm not going to do that, or I don't think it's a great idea for me. What are my other options? That's another thing that you can say. What are my other options? What else is out there? Where could I look to do more research on my own? These are all things that you can do so that your doctor doesn't feel attacked. So just remember, number one, you need to be your own advocate. It is okay to stand up for yourself. You don't always have to change doctors. Sometimes you do. And, if the one that you have is not helping you and you've tried, then it is time to find somebody else, because why keep on going to the same person when you're not getting the help that you need? So these are things that you can think about and phrase in a way that you're showing reverence for who they are and their education, but also saying, hey, I kind of know what's going on in here. Or even saying, I don't know if I'm expressing this well, but I need you to hear me. So that's it. Just be your advocate. Be your number one advocate, because nobody else is going to do it for you. Speak up. It's okay for you to speak up to the doctor. It's okay for you to say, hey, this is what's going on. Maybe you didn't hear me. Maybe I didn't express it well. But I know that this isn't what's best for me. And ultimately, you do know what's best for you, but listen to your doctor and also tell them what's up. All right. Oh, I love this question. I get this one all the time. How long does it take to form a healthy habit? So, there's the saying, oh, it takes 21 days, it takes 60, it takes 90, it takes a year, it takes blah, blah, blah. How long does it take to form a healthy habit? Well, people, there is no hard and fast rule. There is no day 22, I've got this habit. Here's the way it works. You have to think about it is, how long have you been doing the habit that you're trying to break? How long have you been doing the habit that you're trying to create? Now, if it's really important to you, it's easier for you to build new neural pathways. That's like your brain. That's how your brain works. So if you have always, I'm what? Oh, wow. I'm 44. Okay. So I'm 44 years old. So if I've for 44 years done something exactly the same way, it's going to take a while for me to build a new pathway. Now, if it's something really important to me and I'm passionate about it, it's not going to take me as long to make a new habit out of whatever it is that I'm trying to make a new healthy habit, because it's really important. But here's the thing you got to think about too is, what's the easiest way for you to make a habit? So, some people, like maybe working out 7 days a week is easier for them to create a habit faster. It's not necessarily the healthiest way for you to do it, but if you're consistently doing something every single day, it's easier for your brain to get used to it and build a new neural pathway. So you got to think about neural pathways as like trails, hiking trails, one that is well worn and been, walked on 1,000,000 times is going to be easier to follow than one where you have to whip out the machete and, make your own way. But if you keep going on that pathway where you whipped out the machete and, got all the branches out of the way, eventually it's going to get more worn. So there is no 21, 60, 90 days, etc., for it to be a new habit. And then sometimes people can instantly go back because they do it one time. So I'm going to use the example of drinking alcohol. If you're a drinker and you're an alcoholic or you're a problem drinker, all it could take is one try and you're back into your old habit again, even if you haven't had any drinks for 15 years. Okay. So you've got to think about, instead of it being automatic, maybe you need to make that your choice of like, this is who I'm going to be. So once again, I keep on harping on this in different directions, but the same idea. Who am I going to be? So in order to be, if you want to lose weight, for example, stop telling yourself, I'm trying to lose weight. You say, I am losing the weight by doing this and this and this. I eat healthy. That's who I am. I'm a healthy eater. instead of, well, I do my best to eat healthy. No, because that gives you an out. But if you're a healthy eater, it turns into a non-negotiable. That's who you're being. So instead of thinking of habits as, 21 days or 60 days or 90 days, think about who you want to be and how you want to show up for yourself and for the world, because it's so much easier that way instead of trying to, I don't know, create this habit, which, things do become automatic. They do, because that's who you become. I am a toothbrusher. I'm a flosser. I floss like 8 times a day because I just want my teeth clean. There's a lot of people who don't do that. And it's, they have to think about, oh, I got to floss again. Oh, it's nighttime. Oh, it's whatever. But I don't even think about it anymore because I am a flosser. So instead of thinking about it's going to take me 21 days to do this, start thinking about it being, well, you know what? This is who I am. This is who I'm being. Okay. So it's easier that way instead of trying to think, well, this day I'm going to whatever. Start changing how you talk to yourself. All right, everyone. Okay. I think we got time for one more quick question. Let's see what this one is. Ooh, okay. How is a functional doctor different than a GP? I love this question because I would prefer to see a functional doctor over a GP any day of the week. And there's nothing wrong with GPs, and I respect GPs. But a functional doctor has more education, and they're more open to alternative methods besides what is Western medicine. So not only did they go to medical school, but they also have continued their education. So, I'm just going to give you an example to give you an idea. A functional doctor could introduce, instead of, pills, for example, they might, like a depressant, they might add in something to your life where you're taking different herbal supplements instead. So it's more natural. So being in functional medicine is more education, and it's more inclusive. It's more holistic instead of just looking at it from like from the pharmaceutical side of things, for example, and like trying to do surgery right away, that sort of thing. So that I would like to go into that answer a little bit further. However, we are almost out of time. So we're going to wrap it up for today. I just want to say thank you for everyone who is watching live. You're so appreciated. I mean, everybody. I appreciate everyone for being here. And if you have questions or comments, please leave them. For those who are watching on TV, obviously you can't just type on your TV, but feel free to reach out to me via social media or my website, and I will definitely respond. But that is all the time that we have. We have amazing reruns playing next week about back pain, how to get rid of it, as well as how to sleep better. So be sure to watch, and I will see you guys on Halloween. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you again soon.